This is What's Now, coming to you from the Park City Television Studios. It's a show all about what is trending and what people are talking about. I'm your host, Christine Napier, and we've got a packed episode full of health, how to save money, what to watch, and more. But up first, I talked with Dr. Lindsey Fitzharris all about a new show called The Curious Life and Death of, as well as her book. This is a great, intriguing series all about infamous murders. Let's find out more.
Today I have the pleasure of speaking with Dr. Lindsey Fitzharris. She's participating in the show The Curious Life of ... It is a show about infamous celebrity deaths through the lens of morbid science. Dr. Fitzharris, thanks for talking with Park City Television.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. This is going to be a little bit of a grisly sideways for your audience there.
Well, I'm intrigued. Tell me more about the show.
So the series combines forensic science, true crime, and a bit of history, which is what I love because I'm a historian. And it's sort of like a biography from the morgue, if you'll excuse the cheesy way of describing it. And I use all these devices to tell these very curious stories about these deaths of famous people in the past. So in the first episode, which is going to air on the Smithsonian Channel on Sunday, I reopened the case against Lizzie Borden, who allegedly took an axe and killed her father and stepmother in 1892. Do you remember that grisly childhood rhyme?
Yes, I do.
A little bit, yeah. It's coming back. Lizzie Borden took an axe. She gave her mother 40 whacks. When she saw what she had done, she gave her father 41. But in actuality, it was not 81 whacks, it was 29. And she was acquitted by an all-male jury in the Victorian period because they couldn't conceive that a woman could commit this crime. So I look at all of the forensics. I look at, did she have the opportunity? I have these wonderful ballistic gel bodies, which you can see right here. They were created by a guy named Chris Mills out in Los Angeles. And they allow me to do all kinds of tests. So with Lizzie Borden, I actually take a hatchet and I see just how hard that would have been to hit this skull and crack it open.
And you mentioned true crime. Do you think the popularity of those podcasts really contribute to the interest in these topics and really to creating a show like this?
Yeah, I think absolutely. I love true crime. I'm a big consumer of it. And I think that there's, people have a healthy, morbid curiosity, and I don't think that's anything to be ashamed of. I'm a medical historian, so I write about all kinds of gruesome things. I wrote a book in 2017 called The Butchering Art, which is about Victorian surgery. So imagine going into these operating theaters without any anesthetic, and you have this audience that's bought tickets to see this life and death struggle play out. So people were very morbid back then. But I think people are like that today. We have true crime. We have an explosion of interest on Instagram accounts. You can certainly find this kind of content from me and other people. So I'm hoping that this will be a really fun, entertaining show for people who like history, forensics, and true crime.
Well, as you mentioned, this is something you're totally used to. You talk about this stuff, you research it. Did you have to tone down some of your findings to make it audiences accept it?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, so these bodies that are made by that guy, Chris Mills, he actually normally fills them with red dye, but the Smithsonian Network was like, ooh, we don't want to get too graphic with our audience, so we filled them with blue for the show. So we put them through a series of ballistic tests. For instance, we do an episode on Pablo Escobar, and we interview his son, who was the last person to talk to Escobar. He was the cocaine king in the 1980s, and he was shot down on a rooftop in Medellin in Colombia. And his son says that his father would never have allowed himself to be captured alive. And so he thinks his father took the kill shot and that he died by suicide. And so we actually put these gel bodies through various ballistic tests to show which gun would have taken that shot. But you're going to see blue blood in The Curious Life and Death of. You're not going to see the red blood. So we did have to tone down some of the graphicness of it.
Oh, wow. This is fascinating. Is this something you were always interested in, or what made you go into this field?
Yeah, I was a strange child, unsurprisingly. My grandmother, who's in Chicago, she's 90. She's going to be watching some of these interviews, but she and I used to go to the cemetery when I was a child, and we would hunt ghosts, And unsurprisingly, I grew up to be a very strange adult, and I ended up going to Oxford University. I'm actually coming to you from England right now. I've lived here for 18 years. And I just loved it. I love bringing the past alive to people. And I think that medical history in particular is really relatable because people know what it's like to be sick. And so what I do is I say, well, if you had a toothache in 1792, this is what would have happened. Or if you had to have your leg amputated in 1844, this is who you would go to see have that done. And I think that makes history really relatable.
It really does. Where can we find out information? How can we watch?
You can watch it on the Smithsonian Channel. It's premiering on Sunday at 9 p.m. Eastern. And I think it'll also be available to download through Amazon at some point and other various devices, iTunes, etc. But if you want to watch it live and you want to find out if Lizzie Borden really did commit those crimes, that she really got away with murder, Sunday, 9 p.m. on the Smithsonian Channel.
Well, Dr. Lindsey Fitzharris, it's been so interesting talking with you, and I'm really looking forward to tuning in.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me on the show.